Testing, testing, testing. Closer to me, Jim. All of us deserve. That works, yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Jim. That'd be great.
My name is Gib Metcalf. My pronouns are he, him, and I am honored to serve as the chair of the First Parish in Concord Governing Board. Welcome one and all to worship today as we celebrate our commitment to social action. First Parish is a member of the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations, and love lies at the center of our faith. We gather to grow spiritually and ethically together as we adapt to a changing world. We seek to center and strengthen relationships by honoring our covenant to treat each other with respect and care, especially when disagreement or conflict arises. With humility and reverence, we acknowledge our place in the great web of life, and we embrace our differences and commonalities with love and goodwill. While we never expect perfection, we do expect that our members will take responsibility for their actions and engage in repair when needed. Welcome to all joining us both in our historic sanctuary and on Zoom. If you are visiting or new to the congregation, we extend warm greetings to you. If you need an assisted listening device or any other assistance during the worship service, please see one of our ushers at the rear of the sanctuary. Soul work materials are available at the entrance as well, and these small crafts and coloring pages can help people of all ages calm the body and focus the mind. And during worship, the parlor downstairs serves as our wiggle room where young ones can play while the service live streams on a large screen. Zoom participants are invited to stay online after the service for a time of conversation and fellowship, and all present in the meeting house are welcome to enjoy coffee hour in the parish hall downstairs. For those who prefer a more intimate space to reflect on today's worship themes, you are invited to the worship sharing circle, also immediately after the service in the Brooks Room or by Zoom. And as your governing board rep for the morning, I will be available during coffee hour, as will C.C. King, who is also the governing board rep as well today. So come say hello to one of us, or both of us, to all of us, whoever. Please check out the many announcements in the order of service, and check out the folder at the back that has information about all the events in the spring. Two quick things to highlight. During coffee hour, please be sure to stop by the social action tables. Teams have tables set up for folks to stop by and learn more about the work that they do and how you can get involved. And see the FP Weekly for more information about the various and exciting activities and opportunities to connect and strengthen our community. And if you are new or newish and would like to meet the minister, our lead minister, and you are welcome to be welcomed in the Brooks Room at 11:45, where a light lunch will be provided. And you will be there, Jennifer, for that, I think, right? Okay. She's got a thumbs up, so she will be there. So welcome once again to gather and service is a sacred act, and your presence among us is a blessing. We are glad and grateful that you are here.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Paul Langston Daly. I'm the Minister for Social Action here at First Parish, and my pronouns are he and they. I offer our opening words this morning with my friend Dana Schneider Grant. First Parish is a welcoming Unitarian Universalist congregation that seeks to deepen spirituality, build community, and make a positive difference in the world. Our many social action teams, task forces, and committees have been working diligently for years to embody our mission and carry the love of this faith by their hands, the hands of these many people and many others beyond these walls. Today, we'll hear from several of our members whose commitment to care and social justice have been central to their participation in this faith. Sprinkled throughout the service, we will hear some quotes selected by members of the teams. There are many who made today possible, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who made it happen. We celebrate pluralism of belief in this faith. And we are clear that centering love means centering relationships. The Jewish theologian Martin Buber framed this as a shift from the transactional I-it connections to the relational I-thou connections, seeing the sacred, the holy, the uniqueness in each and every person, honoring them and the connections that we create when we attend to one another holistically. In a world that seems bent on transactional relationships, we here at First Parish are committed to connections, to relationships, and to rebuilding a society that draws the circle wider, making space for the holy in each of us.
Disability activist Julia Watts-Belser writes, "All of us deserve a world that welcomes us, a world that wants the very quirkiness that ableism would outlaw. A world that savors neurodiversity. That sees our singularity and sees our singularity as a witness to infinity. A world that prizes us and praises us, praises our frailties and foibles. A world that celebrates and cradles us. A world that desires us."
Today, we celebrate our connections and our commitments to answering the call to love as we bring the love beyond these walls in ways large and small, as individuals and as a community. We welcome you this morning. Come, let us worship together.
Okay, here we go. We gather today to hear the call of trust. Though our hearts have been bruised by broken promises and dreams deferred. Like this flame, trust is something that needs to be rekindled again and again.
Please rise in body and spirit and join us for our opening hymn, number 119, Once to Every Soul and Nation.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Amy Friedman, and my pronouns are she, her. And if there are any kindergarten through fourth graders here this morning, which I know there are, I see you, come on down, please. If you are in 8th grade or in our, you'll be in the OWL program already, I hope, as well as our 5th and 6th graders. Come on down. I'm just vamping till you get here. And if you have any preschoolers today, you can go down to the parlor. And today we have a brand new youth service leader program, which is meeting in the Brooks room. So if you're in 7th grade or you're a high school student, you can head to the Brooks room. You're here. I'm so glad. Oh, I see another friend coming. Hooray. Social action is a part of what First Parish is about, but we could also say it's connected to everything we do. It's connected to the way we sing, it's connected to the values that we learn in religious education, and connected to our spirituality as Unitarian Universalists. It's part of how we express our values. Good morning. I bet you we could find a spot for you. Can you make a spot for Daniel, please? Thank you. So we are going to do some social action stretching this morning. And of course, we affirm that if you do not feel like social action stretching, thank you, you're plenty limber. You don't have to do it at all. If you'd like to stand up, you can do it standing up. If you prefer to be seated or you must remain seated, you may do it that way. It's up to you. Please trust your own body and what you need today. So, ready? And some of this you know, but some of it's new, so pay attention, okay? We're going to repeat after me. We are Unitarian Universalists who put love at the center of our lives. Ooh, you all did it together with me. You're so good. Thank you. And then we're going to do, we move with the winds of change. This one you might want to stand up for. You ready? Challenge injustice. Thank you. Together, we create beloved community, and we continue to grow in love and understanding. And this is my favorite part. There's no words for this. This is just so we can start again. Jazz hands. All right, we're going to do it one more time. We are Unitarian Universalists who put love at the center of our lives. We move with the winds of change, challenge injustice. Ooh, I like that part. We build beloved community. We grow in love and understanding everywhere. So you had to come up with words for it. Thank you so much. You may be seated. Today in our K through 5 group, we're going to be exploring trusting life, and we have some great ways to work on that together. And if the congregation would please join together in song, we are going to head. Oh, I gotta wait.
Before we sing the kids out, 1 second.
I don't know about this. This is not staged. I have no idea what's going on.
Jewish theologian Martin Buber wrote, "We cannot avoid using power, cannot escape the compulsion to afflict the world. So let us, cautious in diction and mighty in contradiction, love powerfully."
Thank you for sharing that powerful quote. And now we are going to head upstairs, and all of you will join together in song.
The author, poet, and activist Marge Piercy wrote, "I want to be with people who submerge in the task, who go into the fields to harvest and work in a row and pass the bags along, who are not parlor generals and field deserters, but move in a common rhythm when the food must come in or the fire be put out."
My name is Fred Van Duzen, and I'm going to talk about how I got involved in social action. I grew up in the 60s and was awakened to social injustices by the civil rights movement, the anti-Vietnam War movement, and the women's liberation movement. It was a time of great social injustice and unrest, and some important societal progress. So on December 1st, 1969, I was in my senior year at Northeastern University, and I was sitting on the couch in an apartment I shared with 3 other Northeastern students, and the Vietnam War was heating up, and those in power decided to hold a lottery to see which young males would be drafted to fight in the war. They drew numbers by birthday, and I was sort of half watching this. It was on TV, and I wanted to see when my birthday would come up, just out of curiosity. Well, I didn't have long to wait. I was drawn on the 9th pick out of 366. So although I didn't really quite understand what that meant, it was extremely likely that I would be drafted. So I was opposed to the Vietnam War and wars in general. They're destructive, inhumane, cruel, and cause a lot of collateral damage. Thousands of people die or are wounded, and I decided I would need to find some way to avoid being sent to war. So I was a senior, so in the spring I was still getting job offers. I got job offers from IBM and AT&T, but I was going to be a computer programmer, and that would not disqualify me from getting drafted. So in May of 1970, I joined with 4 million other students in going on strike in protest of the war, and the fact that 4 Kent State students were actually killed by members of our National Guard. That was my first protest. I graduated in June and promptly passed my draft physical, and I explored some options. I actually went to a meeting with the Army Reserve and walked out. I just couldn't do it. I did some serious soul searching. I could not, in good faith, go off to Vietnam and try to kill other people. So I applied for and got conscientious objector status and took a job in the National Health Interest and Safety, which was required, as a janitor at Revere Memorial Hospital. And I still continued to protest the war. I went to DC in 1971 with 175,000 other people. So being a janitor wasn't great, but it was infinitely better than going to Vietnam. And it had a real benefit to me. My roommate, Jerry, introduced me to Alice Thompson in October 1973. And we've been together ever since. Thank you, Alice. Fast forward to 2015, 3 married kids and 2 grandkids later, I was sitting in a denominational affairs meeting, and the same Alice Van Duzen was leading it. The UUA had selected a congregational study action issue called The Corruption of Our Democracy. And we talked about it as a group, and Alice asked if anyone was interested in leading that kind of a group, and I volunteered. And at the beginning of 2016, we started recruiting people to work with us and selected a name for our group, Reclaim Our Democracy. We're still there, right? Built a website, had some cards printed, and started holding events to deal with big money in politics, still an issue. So we now have 16 active group members, 460 people on our Reclaim Our Democracy newsletter, and we've partnered with a lot of different groups, American Promise, Concord Indivisible, UU The Vote, League of Women Voters, and Unitarian Universalists for Social Justice. UUSJ asked me actually in 2019 if I would help them with their democracy team, and I'm leading that one too. So The painful reality of all of this is that right now, we find ourselves back in a period of great social unrest and great division in this country. At the hands of the very cruel and reckless Trump administration, thousands of people are being treated inhumanely, and there is great collateral harm being done throughout the country and in the rest of the world. Countries that were long-term allies can no longer trust us. I fear deeply for the future of our country and our 3 kids and 7 grandkids. We must build a pro-democracy movement similar in size or bigger than the 3 important movements of the 60s and 70s. And we need to do it very quickly. So we all need to rally right now. There's a national protest event happening on April 5th. It's going to be in Boston. It's going to be in Bedford. You can go to Waltham. You can go to Billerica. And I hope you'll join the effort. Thank you.
American Baptist minister and activist, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote, "The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people."
There are so many competing needs in our lives and in our world. I invite you now to just take a moment to slow down, to take a deep breath, to hold each other in care and love. Each week, we share the important milestones and moments of our lives that we may celebrate and mourn together. This community holds us in times of need and celebrates our successes with us. Today, we share with the community. Karen Cashian tells us that she had lung cancer surgery earlier this month, that it was caught at an early stage with no treatment required. She is resting well at home until early next week. Catherine Maloney is recovering from surgery earlier this week at Beth Israel in Boston and expects to return home soon. We hold these and all those unspoken, not shared with us, in our heart and in our prayers. And I invite you now to speak aloud or type into the chat the names of those that you are holding today, that you would like to have held. I invite you now to join me in prayer. Spirit of love, God of many names, we pray for compassion and empathy. We hold the joys and sorrows of this community closely. Great Spirit, we acknowledge our frustration and fear, the anger that we hold and carry. Help us remember and know we are more than our anger, more than our fear, more than our frustrations. Help us to find strength in one another, from one another, in community and care as we open our hearts to the love that we know surrounds us and fills us. May we remember that we are worthy, that all are worthy, whole, beautiful, and sacred. May we be held in the gentle, loving hands of this community. And may we hold others as we are held. Blessed be, and amen.
James Baldwin, author and civil rights activist, wrote, It comes as a great shock to discover that the country, which is your birthplace and to which you owe your life and your identity, has not, in its whole system of reality, evolved any place for you.
Good morning. I'm Sarah Ballard, and my pronouns are she and her. We are in a time of crisis for the LGBTQ+ community, and particularly for those who are transgender and their families. Throughout history, those seeking power have scapegoated the other in order to gain and to stoke fear and prejudice in order to gain followers. And it's been those of different races, religions, nationalities, or ethnic groups. Now, those who are transgender have become the latest target. First, it started with bathroom bills, and then moved on to banning transgender girls and women from playing sports. But it hasn't stopped there. The vitriol and attacks on trans rights have been accelerating at an alarming pace. In 2021, there were 143 anti-trans bills proposed in states across the United States, and 18 passed. In 2024, there were 674 bills, and 50 passed. So far, in 2025, there have been an astonishing 745 bills, and 25 have passed, and we're not even a quarter way through the year yet. The most extreme one is a bill recently proposed in Texas that would make simply being transgender a crime called gender identity fraud. It's unlikely to pass, but it shows how extreme these threats have become. This is all cynical manipulation for political gain. As appalling as I find all of this on principle, I have a personal reason for being so frightened and angry by these developments. For 33 years, I had thought of myself as the mother of 3 boys. It had become part of my identity. But you never know when life will send you an unexpected twist. Over 6 years ago, our adult child, who we had always assumed was our son, let us know she had come to the realization that she is transgender, and she planned to transition to live as a woman. She had chosen a new name, Lily. Well, this was a very big surprise to my husband Stoney and me, but of course we were immediately supportive, as were her brothers. And we were relieved and grateful that her wife, Jane, was also accepting and supportive. Jane loves her partner for the person they are, not their gender. Now, you always want what's best for your children, and we were glad that this seemed to make Lily feel happier and more confident than we had ever seen her. We were, and are, proud of her for being brave enough to become who she knows her true, authentic self to be, despite societal pressures. Now, at that time, our biggest worry was whether her life would be made harder by the prejudice she would face, but we weren't too worried about her actual safety. That has changed. There are parts of the country that she doesn't feel safe to visit. My sister has a nice beach house in the Florida Panhandle and have offered to let us use it any time. It's a wonderful place for family vacations, and every summer I spent several weeks there when I was growing up with my grandparents. It was my happy place. Our kids spent a lot of time there too when they were children. And I would love nothing more than to have our 2 young granddaughters come spend time there with us. They would love it. But that can't happen because Florida just doesn't feel like a safe place for Lily and her family. She must go to extreme lengths to keep herself and her family safe. She even felt that she had to adopt her own 2 biological daughters to safeguard her legal rights to them after her transition. And now, after she has changed her name and gender in every legally possible way, the State Department is considering requiring that passports and other federal legal documents use the name and gender assigned at birth. This would make travel become even more difficult and dangerous for those who are transgender. And these are only a few examples of the way the current campaign of hate and fear has affected our family. I'm angry that my daughter and those like her are being used as political fodder in the culture wars. I am so grateful for the support I get from the First Parish community in these dark days. It gives me hope to see so many of you resisting, speaking out, and working for social justice. As ever more horrendous and cruel actions come out of Washington, knowing that we face these challenges together gives me comfort and courage. I invite you to learn more about what you can do by attending the upcoming Diversity Committee offering on trans justice on April 6th, and look in your Sunday announcements for more information about that. And I also want to mention that the annual International Day of Transgender Visibility is coming up soon on March 31st. Thank you, everyone, for helping make First Parish a safe space for all.
Good morning. I'm Diane Pekin, co-president of the Women's Parish Association, which was founded in 1881. During the late 1880s, many Concord women were actively seeking the right to vote in general and to specifically gain more control in raising and spending funds for their church facilities improvement projects, charitable causes, and social activities. The WPA was founded to enable First Parish women to do so. The WPA's founding president was Caroline Brooks Hoare. Both she and her husband, Ebenezer Rockwood Hoare, who gave the Democratic icon Wright Tavern to First Parish, were very dedicated abolitionists and human rights activists, as were many Concordians of that time. And most Concord women felt that voting was a basic human right, including founding board member Ellen Emerson and founding member Louisa May Alcott. Regarding voting rights, as a result of decades of grueling hard work, creative strategies, and tactics, women's suffrage became a reality for American women on August 18, 1920. In 2020, during the centennial celebrations of women's suffrage, the WPA decided to become a member of the organization named Suffrage 100 Massachusetts to support their outstanding educational and inspiring events that reminded people of the need to protect voting rights and all other democratic rights and privileges. In 2024, Suffrage 100 Massachusetts became the Massachusetts Women's History Center with its expanded mission of highlighting and honoring significant work by Massachusetts women to improve general human well-being and to preserve the democratic constructs required to do so. Supporting dedicated strategic partners such as the Massachusetts Women's History Center in their planned democracy-supporting events, such as the Massachusetts Women's Center's work, will help meet today's challenges in preserving our precious American democracy, which is presenting many, many great challenges. So, heartfelt thanks for all your contributions. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cindy Soul. My pronouns are she and her. And I'm here to talk about what drew me particularly to the racial justice group here at First Parish. I was born in New Hampshire in 1950. My family didn't participate in any organized social or religious community. So the values that I grew up with, I learned from my parents: kindness, compassion, and fairness from my mother and my grandmother, and a near pantheistic appreciation of nature and the interconnectedness of all life and lives from my father. My awareness of the wider world grew, of course, in the 60s and 70s, decades of significant and dramatic unrest and social change. I found the courage, ethical commitment, and endurance of those taking stands for justice powerfully inspiring. They kindled a hunger in me to find a way, sometime, somehow, to work for a better, more just world. In my early 20s, Rob Whittlesey and I married and moved to Boston in 1974. I'd come primarily for the women's movement and to finish my undergraduate degree. I landed in a city racked by protests, triggered by court-ordered school segregation, school desegregation through busing. The violence, rage, and hatred on faces directed at students trying to get into their schools was stunning. It called out for engagement, and at that time, I didn't know how to engage. A master's program in women's studies provided me a deep dive into how gender interacts with other social categories like race, class, sexuality, ability, and how individuals can simultaneously experience multiple forms of oppression or privilege. It was also my introduction to the richness of Black feminist writings, and where I began to understand the depth and the breadth of privileges available to me, denied to others, simply on the basis of the color of skin. After graduation, I worked in a number of human service fields at a shelter for battered women and for programs focused on women's reproductive and sexual health, lead poisoning prevention, safe housing. Everywhere, I saw how racial, sexual, and economic oppression landed particularly hard on Black and Hispanic women and their families. It was during these years that I sought out a faith community for my family and found Unitarian Universalism. As my children grew and left the nest to start their own lives that way, I drifted away from my congregation for a number of years. I twice celebrated the election of Barack Obama, wanting desperately to believe against all evidence in the possibility of a post-racism future. Donald Trump shattered that dream. With his election, I felt a desperate need to reconnect with my faith community. I needed to root in community to try to understand the persistence of racism in our culture and work with others on addressing it. I found that connection here at First Parish. This congregation has been engaged, this congregation and this denomination have been engaged in anti-racism work for a long time through UUA programs like Beloved Conversations, Jubilee 3, any number of others. We've looked into ways that we carry racism within us, the seeds of racism. We've worked to build relationship with impacted communities by partnering with the Robbins House, the UUUM, the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute, and in collaboration with other UU congregations with Mass Action's Certified Working Group for Black Lives Matter. An internal commission on institutional change was charged here to look into church policies and practices and make recommendations for changes to address any ways that racist and otherwise oppressive measures were still being held within these protocols that we might have been unwittingly carrying forward And any number of changes have been made to make our space, our protocols, more reflective of these stated values. After 2 years of reflection and congregational discussion, we voted here at annual meeting in 2022 to adopt the UUA's proposed 8th principle, affirming our commitment to work to dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves, our congregation, and our denomination. This year, an RJAG committee is examining the challenging question about reparations from the perspective of reckoning and repair. Often, one issue rises to national consciousness for a time and then recedes as another takes its place. The world responded with outrage to the murders of George Floyd and others, and a wave of activism ensued. New crises arise, and focus moves on. There are so many threats now to people's lives, even to the very foundation of our government. Everywhere we look, there's work to be done. What gives me hope is staying engaged with folks continuing to work on these challenging issues and holding on to a vision of a better future for us all. Thank you.
Writer and activist Adrienne Marie Brown wrote, "I think it is healing behavior to look at something so broken and see the possibility and wholeness in it."
Good morning. I'm Regina Correo, pronouns she and her. Don't worry, I know I'm between you and a cup of coffee. A cup of coffee for myself as well. But I want to tell you a little bit about one of the initiatives from the Immigration Justice Task Force. And it started for me quite a while ago when I was 10 years old. My family went to New York City for a day trip from where we were living on Long Island. And along with all of the new and exciting things that I saw in the big city, there were other new things that were less exciting and less interesting. And that was people lying on the street. Coming from the suburbs, it absolutely blew my mind. I was, as I said, about 9 or 10 years old, and I couldn't get my head around it. I just couldn't understand that people were stepping over human beings. I vividly remember the very fraught car ride home as I tried to convince my parents that we should pick up one of these people and take them home with us. I begged them, and I was very tearful about it. Our house was not big, but we had a family room that could be made into a bedroom. It all made perfect sense to me, not so much to my parents. But that experience and my understanding of the profound inequities in the world, that some of us have so much, and others lack basic necessities like food, shelter, and safety, that didn't leave me. And I remember through the years my feelings of powerlessness and sorrow. Well, many years later, last year actually, I became acutely aware of, as many of us did, that there were people sleeping on the floor at Logan Airport and on the concrete and sidewalks at bus stations and train stations in Massachusetts. And these were families, men, women, pregnant women, children, and babies. They had no alternative. They were unhoused, and there was no room in the shelters. I was no longer 10 years old. So after talking with my husband, Jeff, and with a spare bedroom, I called the Brazilian Workers Center. The Brazilian Workers Center had been contracted by the Massachusetts Governor's Office to provide or to find housing for the unhoused in Massachusetts, whether that be in hotels, shelters, or personal homes. I took a leap and told them I could accept a family, and one was almost immediately matched with me. We were able to provide a small family of 3 respite for several days, a warm welcome, food, and access to a kitchen, which the mom and the family just was thrilled to have, some privacy, because it had been so long since they had a place where they could close a door, and a chance to recover and catch their breaths until the Brazilian Workers Center was able to find more housing, more long-term housing for them. It was a very personal and a unique experience for me. I became acutely aware of the lengths people will go to provide safety and security and possibility for their children. This is now a commercial, so I'll just take a moment to say, and this is a story for another time, but we might ask what impact climate change has on the ability of people in other countries to earn a living, and what provokes thousands of people to leave everything they have and everything they know to come here, a dangerous, fraught journey over thousands of miles. No one does that simply because. For me, the experience of hosting this small family for a few days was many things, but one of the things it was solitary. And so over the following months, I learned about something called cluster housing. And in cluster housing, a group of people work together to provide shelter for an immigrant family. And that immigrant family will stay a week with me, then a week with Anne, then a week with Janet, until we can string together enough weeks until more permanent government shelter is provided. And so we created Blue Boat Home as part of one of the initiatives of First Parish's Immigration Justice Task Force. And we began to accept families and move them through that rotation and house them. Blue Boat Home began at First Parish in collaboration with First Parish Bedford. There are now several faith communities involved, not only Unitarian. And we have members who are not part of faith communities. We've about 8 hosts and 6 helpers. The helpers do everything from translation to grocery shopping to taking the family to the library or a playground, or putting out a call for winter boots or suitcases. When people arrive with plastic bags with their belongings, they need suitcases, car seats. Our members are in Concord, but also in Westford, Maynard, Acton, Lexington. So we've become sort of multi-faith and multi-town. The Blue Boat Home cluster is a community of different people from different faiths, different towns and backgrounds, but we all share the outrage that there are babies sleeping on the streets, and we all share the willingness to do something about it. Relationships have formed among ourselves and also with the people who were our guests. Blue Boat Home has sheltered 5 families, and we're waiting for a 6th. Some of our members are in touch with former guests and still provide friendship and advice. And the community of Blue Boat Home itself has been an unexpected blessing and joy. I've learned so much, I've made friends, and I've seen generosity and love in action. It's truly a remarkable group of people. For me, Blue Boat Home satisfied a decades-long need to literally provide a bed for someone who needed one, to be a tiny part, even for a moment, of providing this fundamental need of shelter, safety, and room to rest. I've laughed and cried with our guests, tasted their food, and held their babies. In this need to do something, I've been able to do one thing. And it's a cliche, but as we know, when we give, we get back so much more. I'm grateful for that. For me, it's not only a chance to bring love beyond these walls, but to receive love beyond these walls as well. Please rise in body and spirit for our closing hymn, Answering the Call of Love.
Faithful and loyal.
A special thank you to all our speakers and to our quote readers this morning. Thank you so much. Our closing words are by Helen Tworkoff. She writes, "To steady myself on the path of awakening, I could not ask for more favorable conditions than being in the bardo of old age, in a country that is falling apart, in a world that is on fire. I have been dealt an extraordinary hand. The rest is up to me." Please join us in our unison benediction. Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Please be seated for the postlude.